Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of the Daily Cannon Tactics Board. Stephen Bradley here bringing you the tactical tweaks and quirks that came from Arsenal's 4-1, paddling of Leeds' second team, we have to say, in the Premier League earlier last night. Like I said, a paddling. It's the only word for it, and it was encouraging to see just because it's what Arsenal should have done. And maybe that doesn't sound too, overly happy. And it's like, wow, he's really sad at a 4-1. I'm not. I'm delighted. But this was a performance that Arsenal have to put in order to get to top four. It's the first time they're going to be top four during Christmas in 5 years. And if they have any aspirations of finishing top four, then what they did to Leeds is exactly what they need to be doing to teams away from home regularly. And I don't mean winning 4-1, but just the performance, the energy levels, the aggression, the intensity, all of it was great. And it put a very poor Leeds side to the sword very quickly and ended any doubt. Over the next 10-15 minutes, I'll be analysing how and why Arsenal were able to do this. If you do enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like. If you saw something that I don't see, leave a comment. And if you want these videos in your inbox on a regular basis, hit subscribe, hit the little bell, and you'll be notified when these videos go up. So, yeah. What changed? Well, from the Southampton game, especially the second half, not a lot. To be honest, Leeds are going through a massive injury crisis right now, and Arsenal should be lucky, or at least feeling lucky, that this game went ahead. With COVID and with games being called off, with fewer players missing, Leeds have a genuine gripe with the Premier League to go, here. But there's his injury concerns, it's just awful luck, and Arsenal were the team were in position to capitalise. And capitalise they did, because Marcelo Bielsa is a fantastic manager. There would be no criticism of him from me on this, but he plays one way. It's his way and that's it. And when he's got the players like Patrick Bamford and Calvin Phillips in the side, it's a lot easier to play that way because those players run all day. When you're playing under Bielsa, you have to run all day. It is the only way you can play, because with man marking and with pressing, you're constantly running. And this team, the second team, basically, maybe apart from Stuart Dallas and Rafinha, everyone else doesn't get into the first team. And you can tell, this team wasn't used to playing together. It wasn't used to how others were going to run. And what Arsenal were used to were the runs that Saka likes to make, the runs that Martinelli likes to make, the places where Odegaard likes to say, the things that Lacazette likes to do with centre halves and draw them out of position. And Leeds had no answer for it because they were unused to how their own team plays. Never mind an opposition as nuanced as Arsenal is at the moment in the way it attacks. Because even without going near the tactics board and going near this, the heat map says everything. Our good old friend, the heat map. Because if this is exactly Leeds' problem in the whole game. Even when it got to 3-1 when they got the penalty. Look there. That line is 35. I mean, that's 18 yards. So that's another 18. So that's, 35, 40 yards out from goal. The only time they ever get is when right wing here. And they do very little with it. Rafinha had one chance on the counter-attack. That was it. Apart from that, Leeds did not get within an arse's roar, basically, of Arsenal's goal. They just couldn't get the ball past. Look, you can see it's going to the left back, back to the right back. Can they get it through the middle? No. Arsenal did such a good job of just, even when Forshaw and Click tried to get forward, and they tried to push forward like they always do, Leeds. They tried to, force Arsenal back. Arsenal just lined up like this with Partey and Jack and said, look, you're not. It's very simple, very effective. Tierney steps up, Tomiyasu steps up, and they go, you're not going to pass it around us. You're just not. We're gonna make you hit it long to Harrison or long to Rafinha, and you're gonna have to win those headers. And if you don't, you're not getting through. You're not getting past. Cody Drama is making his debut. Doesn't get past Martinelli much. Dallas can't get past Saka because Saka has the recovery pace to pick him up. Ailing and Robin, who I can't say because I'll get demonetized, thanks YouTube, can't, don't have the on the ball presence to get the ball to the likes of Click and Forshaw, and these two do not have anywhere near the ball progression skills of Calvin Phillips to get it to Tyler Roberts and then in. And as a result, Arsenal were just able to pick them off at will 40 yards out from goal instead of having to rely on a low block to get them in. And as a result, Arsenal found themselves, especially here, Click and Forshaw would push forward. Dallas would try to get the ball. Partey would step forward, give it to Saka. And it's 4-on-4. Again and again and again. And why Lacazette in particular is so important to the way Arsenal plays at the moment is because his job is to get this centre-back out of the way. End of. And Marcelo Bielsa's defensive system relies on man marking, which means Drama's tight here, Armand's tight here, Ailing's tight there, Dallas is tight there, Forshaw will come back and stick to Pat. It's one-on-one duels everywhere. And to the extent that if Lacazette, even if the Leeds backline is here, and Lacazette's the number 9, if Lacazette comes here, he will be followed. Always. If Lacazette goes here, he'll be followed. If he goes here, he'll be followed. And so all game long, basically, Lacazette did a brilliant job of leading Leeds' German defender on a merry little walk of Ellen Road. He literally just kept drawing him out of position again and again, which meant Ailing and Click and Forshaw were constantly filling gaps, even though they were supposed to be man-marking themselves. But they couldn't because they could see at all times Martinelli free here and Saka free here, and they couldn't risk it. So they'd drop back. And now suddenly Odegaard has the freedom of Leeds. And just in your head, picture, this is Arsenal, they're playing this way, from right to left. Picture in your head where you want your number 10 to have the ball the most on this heat map, right? Wherever it is, where do you want your number 10 to have it? Got it? Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Every time Odegaard was here. And when they were counter-attacking, Forshaw and Click would be behind him. Saka's running here, through there. Armand is being drawn out by Lacazette. And Martinelli's running through this half space here. It's a nightmare for these to try and keep up. Because Martinelli's too quick for Drame. Saka's too quick for Dallas. And Luke Ayling has to make a decision every time. Do I dive in this way or do I dive in that way? And Odegaard just kept baiting him in with the ball again and again and was constantly finding these little channels. And it's just one of those situations where Arsenal, once they found the goal, kept pressing and kept pressing and kept pressing. But there was 7-8 times in the first half where it was 4-on-4. And you're relying, with Lacazette drawing a player out, Odegaard can come through, and then if the defender finally goes, right, I'm going to go back in, now Lacazette's an outlet. And even for the first goal, Saka drives in, Odegaard comes through, Lacazette then goes this way, drawing the defender that way, Ayling comes out, Saka comes in, bit of a melee here, bounces to Martinelli, who's the first to react, and it's 1-0. And all game long, Martinelli was an absolute nightmare because remember when Arteta came to the club and he was playing Aubameyang here? The reason why is because in his head he wanted Aubameyang to play exactly the way Martinelli is playing now. On the ball, enough of a threat where he can pick a pass, not perfectly, but still be good enough on ball. And then off the ball, just be a nightmare, making these runs again and again and again. Just being a constant threat. And Aubameyang's best strength is making these runs. He's elite at finding space in and around here, timing them especially, getting in one-on-one and goal. And does he miss some? Yes, but If you follow Tim Stillman at Stillberto on Twitter, you'll see that the person who had the most, quote unquote, big misses last year was Mohamed Salah. And he's rather good. Aubameyang's biggest strength is getting into an area where he's 8 yards out from goal with the ball. The difference between him and Martinelli is that Martinelli has to be respected on the ball as well, because he can beat a player and then take a shot. Aubameyang can't do that. And as a result, when Martinelli gets the ball, the right back can't just drop back. He has to come to him. He has to challenge him. He has to at least get in his way, because if he doesn't, Martinelli's just going to, ping one in the top corner. Because of this, and because of Arsenal's ability to press high, what Arsenal ended up doing, and you won't see this in the heat map per se, but you'll see it in the number of touches. Thomas Partey, again, a lot more centrally. Yes, there's a small bit here, but it's a lot more centrally. There isn't one particular spot he gets the ball, but look how many touches. 42. Okay? Xhaka 70. It's almost double. And he's a little bit further forward, but he's there. Because what was happening was, Arsenal were finding that because Leeds weren't getting forward with the ball, they didn't need 2 people sitting behind. They only needed 1. So Partey shuttled over, Odegaard went a bit to the right, like he likes to do, and Xhaka went here. Now, if Lacazette is pulling this centre-back out of the way, I mean, do I need to tell you where the ball's going? Do I need to tell you where he's going to run? Do I need to show you the second goal again? Like, it's simple little stuff like this that a team that is playing in form and that knows its own tendencies will do over and over again, and a team playing as if it had only started together yesterday, like this Leeds 11 did, is one that it just makes mistakes of. And then when you try and overcorrect, when Draymond goes, right, okay, we're not letting him go again, and they try and go a little bit more narrow, well, what does that do? Well, we'll just give it to the right wing then, who is able to go left, right and left. And because they're too afraid of, leaving Martin, they can't do this, because then Martinelli is free. So when Saka runs across, the right back can't come across. The left, the centre back is still marking Lacazette, so it's 2-on-1. Can he get in here? And the answer is yes. And eventually he comes over. It's Tierney who makes another overlapping run. Saka ends up, running past everyone, getting here. Koch makes a bit of a late lunge. Saka takes a shot. He gets lucky. It's 3-0, and it's game over. And these are easy to do on paper, but what we have criticised Arsenal the most for God knows how long is that at 1-0 they wouldn't have played like this against Everton, like they didn't. And in other games last season where they get to 1-0 and they go, right, that'll do. This team isn't scoring. What they've done today was sense weakness and pounced. And went, no, we're going for 2, we're going for 3. And then the half ends, it's 3-0, and, 3.38 XG is one thing, but in the first half, 2.67. Crazy high number. And as much as we can give out to them for taking their foot off the gas at 3-0, I've a lot less problems with them taking the gas off at 3-0 because they're 3-0. What I'm most happy to see is that when at 3-1, they did this and they took off Saka, who's, again, a lot of minutes, and immediately went, oh, right, okay, we're 3-1. What do we do? Oh, I know, we'll get the ball back to Odegaard. What happens? Lacazette comes deep. Robin goes out of the way. Smith Rowe runs in the gap. Odegaard finds the ball. Smith Rowe smashes it in. It's 4-1. It's the same pattern again. They didn't panic. They didn't, wilt under the pressure. They went, oh yeah, we know what's going to work. We'll just find this channel again. Odegaard plays a wonderful ball through. It's straight down the middle. Smith Rowe runs onto it, hits it straight down the middle of the goal. It's 4-1. Like, this is the kind of play that Arsenal need to build on. You know, this shouldn't be like, this shouldn't be the end game. This should be the start. This should be step one, where Arsenal can play like this on a regular basis. And then you hope that Saka can build an extra part of his game where he finishes a lot more chances, where maybe in a year's time Lacazette isn't the number 9, but it's at least a more clinical number 9 that can pass and shoot. Like, then you add Smith Rowe and Martinelli to that. Like, it is very hard to come away from this game not thinking that this man's a star. Yet, it's also hard to come away from this game thinking that this man's a star, and that this man's a star, and that Saka that I just took off is a star. Like, at some point, we're going to start wondering about how, in the name of all that is holy, do we get all 4 of these players in the same team? My answer... but will they do it? And when is the time to... You know, do you buy a striker for another year? Or do you give Lacazette another year so that these 4 can gain more experience? Again, 20, 21, 20, 20. Like, we have time here. Are we going to give it to them? Or do we say, look, Lacazette's gone, we're going to spend big money on a striker, and basically we play 3 of these 4 in every game? Either way, it's not the worst conundrum to be confronted with, is it? Anyway, that's my analysis of Leeds versus Arsenal. Again, a comfortable win. Not much you can say too much. You know, it's a poor Leeds team, but Arsenal, you know, were more than up to the challenge, swatted aside a valiant effort, and are now 4th in the league until at least St. Stephen's Day and beyond. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to hit like. If you saw something I didn't see, just like, you know, people did in the last video where I didn't see Arsenal playing 4-3-3, just like Arsenal did today against Leeds. You know, so I think it's the last commenter. I forget your name, sir. I apologise, but you were right. And yeah, watching Xhaka move up a bit definitely helped. It's going to be interesting to see if he can, you know, maintain that level of performance, or he gets sent off for doing something stupid like he nearly did in the game against Leeds. But like I said, this is not a perfect channel. I will miss stuff. If you see it, happy days, no problem. There's plenty of people willing to talk tactics and discuss tactics and have a reasonable conversation about football with. So if you want to get involved in that, hit subscribe, comment down below, and yeah. Usually when I finish these videos, I say when the next game is going to be, but with COVID, who knows? Hopefully Sunderland in the League Cup, but unfortunately right now, your guess is as good as mine. But no matter when, we will talk to you next time. Cheers.